On this episode, I'm making the best double chocolate chip cookies you've ever had in your entire life. They're incredibly easy to make. But before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe and that notification bell so you can be notified of future videos. Let's jump into the ingredients. To make my double chocolate chip cookies, you're gonna need 3/4 cup granulated sugar, 3/4 cup brown sugar, it can be dark or light, 1 cup Crisco shortening, 2 cups flour, 1/4 cup cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon salt, 2 teaspoons vanilla, large flaked sea salt or kosher salt, and the chocolate chips of your choice. My choice is the Ghirardelli milk chocolate, but you can also use dark chocolate, butterscotch, you can really use anything. Go wild with it.
You're also going to need 2 eggs, and to make the recipe gluten-free flour.
Now that you have all of your ingredients all lined up and ready to go, it's time to get your large mixing bowl or your KitchenAid mixer. I absolutely love the KitchenAid. So the first thing you want to do when you're making cookies is you want to cream the sugar and the shortening. So you have 3/4 cup white sugar, 3/4 cup brown sugar, it can be light or dark. And as tradition, since I was a kid, always have a spoonful of brown sugar, just to make sure it's good. You can use shortening from a tub, but this is way easier to do. They already come in the amount you need. This is from Crisco. There's a link to it on our website. So once you have this in the bowl, you're gonna mix it together. You don't ever wanna start too high because you'll shoot things out the side of the bowl. Once those are kind of incorporated, the shortening will kind of get chunky, like little pebbles. That's what you want. That's gonna help it get throughout the mixture. You're going to go ahead and add in the liquids. Vanilla makes everything better, so there's 2 teaspoons of that in here, and then eggs also count as liquid. When you're cracking eggs, make sure you're doing it on a flat surface, because if you use the side of the bowl, there's a better chance that you're gonna get eggshell in the cookie dough, and you definitely don't want that. For easy cleanup, I like to use a small plate, and then I just crack the eggs right on the plate. And then you just put the shells back on the plate. You don't have to do it one-handed, but it's definitely cooler. We'll mix it. That's all the wet ingredients in this cookie dough. Okay, so that's all mixed up. Let's start adding in our dry. We add these in. You can add them in a little bit at a time, but I'm not ever that patient, so I just add them in all at once. The only thing you have to watch out for is you need to be a little bit careful about turning on the stand mixer, because if you do it too high, you're going to have a large plume of flour. All right, once it's mixed up, we're going to show you what it looks like, because this stuff is awesome. It's gonna look like, almost ice cream, like chocolate ice cream. Yeah, at this point you could cook them if you didn't want chocolate chips, but where's the fun in that? For this, we're gonna use Ghirardelli milk chocolate chips. I'm not gonna tell you how much to put in, because really put in as much as you want. If you want them really gooey and a lot of melted chocolate, put in a ton. If you don't really like chocolate chips, don't put in too many. Now you want to let the dough hang out in the fridge for about 20 to 30 minutes. In that time, you can start preheating your oven, prepping your baking sheet, and cleaning up your work surface, so you don't have to clean up when you have fresh cookies, because you're just going to want to eat them. And cleaning up when you're done is the absolute worst, so I definitely recommend doing it as you go. Now, if you're going to bake the entire amount of dough that you've just made, you're going to want a bigger baking sheet than this. I'm only going to make about 6 cookies because I'm freezing the rest. So we've got the cookie dough out of the fridge. It is properly chilled and cold. That's gonna help it maintain its shape a little bit. We've also got a big cookie scoop. You can make smaller cookies if you use a smaller scoop. You can also just tear off little balls of cookie dough and roll them in your hand. Cookie scoops are the easiest way to do it because you just scoop in and dollop out. Super easy to do. I definitely recommend getting a cookie scoop if you're going to be making cookies. Once we have the cookies all dolloped out, we're going to use either flaky salt or kosher salt. If you've never added salt to your cookies on top, you're definitely missing out. Flaky salt is awesome because they're huge chunks. In fact, you probably can't see from that far, but we'll show them to this camera. They're like super huge, just chunks of salt. You're gonna take those and just sprinkle it on top. If you keep your Dutch oven in the oven, make sure you take it out before you preheat it because it's gonna be hot and you're gonna need that space for the cookies. Okay, we're gonna throw these in for 11 minutes and then enjoy. The timer is going off. It's ready to take these out of the oven. Do that with a hot pad because obviously these are about 350 degrees. We're gonna let this cool on a trivet and let the cookies cool on the pan for a few minutes before we move them to a cooling rack. If you move them right now, they're just gonna fall apart. And they should maintain their shape as you're moving them around. The pan isn't gonna be as hot, so if you accidentally touch it, you should be perfectly fine. Okay. There you have it. Perfectly delicious, still warm, homemade cookies. This is food you need in your life. I'm gonna eat